Hey everybody, Kieran Harris here, Feel Good Golf Academy. Any of you ever dealing with a little chicken wing in your game? You're seeing a little bit of that bent lead arm as you come through impact? And today we're gonna tell you the primary causes of that chicken wing, why it happens, and then we're gonna give you two very simple ways to help stop the chicken wing and ultimately lead to better striking, better direction, all better stuff in your ball striking. So what causes this chicken wing, right? I get a lot of players asking me about the chicken wing, and the first thing I need to understand is that the chicken wing is a symptom of other things, symptoms of some things that happen earlier, right? It's your body trying to make an accommodation through impact for, let's say, a lack of space or a lack of a bit of an organized club, and it's trying to do some fixing at the last second. Could be trying to avoid the ground, could be trying to fix the club face, could be just trying to fit the club into a tight window, right? One of the primary ways that this starts to manifest itself is often from a bit of a deep downswing. All you over-the-toppers out there, put your hands up, right? So those players who are dealing with more of those high weak slices and fades, right? Sometimes as that club swings down, and when it's swinging down very steeply, that's a bit of a space issue. Your body has to figure out how to create space for that club as it's coming crashing so steeply into the ground, and it will sometimes shorten that left arm. Also, like those players who are over the top, right? Their swing direction or their club path can be very left sometimes. And the brain, in trying to organize the swing and fix everything at impact, goes, well, I don't want to hit this ball way left. And so it can pull up that arm to try to fix the club face, to try to make sure that the face doesn't dump over, right? If your arm is fully committed to swinging both over the top and down to the left, those would be big pulls, right? So in some ways, the chicken wing is almost saving you a little bit there. It's your body defending you from a big miss, but it just turns into a weak slice. The second very popular cause of the chicken wing that we're gonna talk about is, I would say, a real lack of rotation or pivot in the body on the way through. So I see these players coming into impact, swinging, and the chest is still facing down, the hips get a bit locked, and all of a sudden the arms don't have very far to go, right? If my chest doesn't turn, my arms can only go so far. And as soon as we can get them to release their chest and their hips, some good things can start to happen. And players who don't rotate very well can also suffer from the club kind of digging into the ground because there's not a corresponding pulling force in the body. There's not a lateral and a rotational force to pull the club up with them. So those are players who can get into the chunks or the weak little hooks and stuff like that. And in order to mitigate some of that stuff, we see their arms start to shorten so they don't hit the ground, or so that they try to fix the club face. Now, how do we use that information and go, how do I fix this thing? How do I stop with the chicken wing, right? So here's our first idea. I can describe it as simply as showing you an image. And here's the image. I often tell players that if I ever see someone in this position after they've hit the ball, right? I don't even need to see them hit the ball. I can just see a picture of this, and I'd probably say, I bet they hit a good shot. And why do I say that? Because this position here, right, where I'm facing my target, right, my hips have released, my chest has turned to the target, my arms are long arms, are the opposite of the chicken wing, but also for me, I just say that's a sign of freedom, right? That's somebody who didn't have to slow down and fix anything as they came to the ball. They had full freedom, full speed, all stepping on the gas all the way through and extending into that nice, long, free, wide follow through. So for those of you who have the chicken wing, I want you to just stand in that position. So you're gonna start at the finish line, and then we're gonna make some little half back swings, and we're just gonna try to get to that finish line every time. The long arms, the released hips, right? So that might actually address some of the cause stuff for some of you chicken wing players. Let the body turn and release to where you're going. So that's a big one. So if you can just sort of stand there, and then I would say, the way you take this into the course is just before you hit a shot, this becomes your practice swing, right? And you just go, hey, that's my goal, that's my finish line. And every time I'm just gonna try to get there. I'm gonna try to get into that long-armed position. It's a simple image and feeling that doesn't require a checklist of 5 or 6 mechanical pieces. Your brain, when it sees that image, will help you organize the swing to get there. So that's one way that we can start to get away from the chicken wing. The second technique that we can use to help fix this chicken wing stuff is a little more related to the first cause that we described, right? Remember all those players who are a little bit steep in the downswing, right? A little bit over the top, that sort of thing. Well, that's as soon as that club gets over the top, or it sort of falls out of its track, I like to say, from here we're in fix it mode, we're in save it mode. We're not in free, fun, let's hit the ball mode. We're like, oh God, I hope I can do something good with this, right? Let's fix it. So we're gonna try to actually just prevent that from ever happening. And this might start to give us more freedom in the downswing and less need for fixing on the way through. So we're gonna try to get the club more on plane, I would say, on the way down. This is just like, I like to tell players, thinking about the angles that these clubs are built on, right? Those diagonal angles the shafts are built on, and that they like to be swung on a diagonal like that, right? If I was using a croquet mallet, right, which is built much more at a 90-degree shaft angle, I could have much more of a steep up and down swing. That's how that club's built. But this is a golf club, right? So we're trying to get that swing to feel a little bit more rounded, right? So for you players who are struggling with chicken wing, and maybe it's caused by bad over the top stuff, well, let's start to figure out, could we feel like the club's gonna actually swing a bit more from the inside, right? From behind my right ankle, and a little bit more right of second base, or even out to first base for those of you who need that exaggeration, right? Can we get the club more on plane and swinging more away from us? And you can see when I do that there, again, look at that position I'm getting in, right? There's those long arms again, right? A good swing plane gives you lots of freedom through the hitting area to release the club and to not have to fix anything. So there we go. So we know that the causes of chicken wing, two of the primary ones are definitely that steeper over the top swing, which then forces the club into more of this tighter window trying to hit the ball and organize the swing to the target. So the arms, as they bring that steep club down, have to shorten to not hit the ground or to fix the face angle or all sorts of things. Another one of those causes is players who don't rotate very well on the way through. We'll see some shortening of the arms just because of a lack of mobility in the upper body, which therefore limits the overall mobility of the arms, right? And limits speed and good low point control and all those things. So for that player, we're helping them aspire to the longer arms, which also sort of influences better movement, better turning and rotation in the body. You can have a nice knock-on effect there. And vice versa, of course, those players who are the steeper types, down and across it, chicken wingers, well, we need them to get a little bit more on plane, right? And I've got lots of videos on how to get it on plane or how to change the shaft plane and things like that, how to change the club path. But we're trying to get them to feel probably like they're swinging a little bit more of a draw path, a little more from in to out or out to right field for right-handed golfers. So those are two very common causes and two very simple and common ways that we fix this every day out here on the lesson tee. So go give it a try. Let's see if you can find that great freedom that your swing's been missing. And boy, you will really enjoy the ball flight. Let me know how it goes. Enjoy.